Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. It is a Wednesday night, April 13. I am sitting in my quiet room upstairs, the scary room we like to call it, but it's not scary now because it's not dark out yet. I was just thinking of what I could do for a video tonight, and because today is a special day, and I'll tell you about that in a second, I decided it's time for me to tell you guys my story about Skylar. Now, I actually told this whole story during a layover at an airport, but that video was so long. I was editing, and it took me like a week, and then I still wasn't done, and I just, once a video is old, I just don't feel like posting it anymore. That I need to just get it out there because I need it to be fresh, like it means something to me, and then I never watch it again. So I did actually tell you guys this story before, but you never heard it. Your doggies. Okay, the reason today is special is because my son Derek has just moved from Nashville back to Memphis to be with his daughter Skylar. My little redhead, whom I absolutely adore. What happened is last year, Derek got robbed. He didn't like the location he was in. He was living in Memphis and commuting to Nashville every weekend. He decided to move to Nashville and commute back and forth to Memphis to see her or to pick her up for school vacations. And that lasted a few months, like not quite 6 months, and he decided he'd rather live where she is so he can be with her on his downtime and just keep traveling back and forth to Nashville to work. So that's what he's doing. So we're just really, really happy. He got himself a nice apartment, and he is close to Skylar. He's with her right now. She'll be staying with him tonight, his first night there. He just moved this morning. Anyway, so since it's a special Skylar Day, I thought I would tell you the story of how Skylar came to be in our lives. Once upon a time, back in August of 2009, I think it was August 8, Derek, who was living in Nashville at the time, came for a visit. And while he was here, we were sitting on the couch, and he said, "Ma, I have to tell you something." And I said, "What?" And he said, "I'm a dad." And I was like, "You're a what?" He said, "I'm a dad to a little girl who is going to be a year old next week." And I was like, what are you saying? I was so devastated because I used to tell Derek all the time when he was young. I mean, I used to tease him like, you better have kids young because I want to be a young grandmother. And I just would tease him. It's like, I just wanted to be a grandmother so bad. When he moved to Nashville, I was like, you better not have any kids while you're on the road because I don't want to be a grandmother to a child that I'll never see. So I used to always say to him, you better not have a road baby. That was my name for him making a baby while he was out on the road. So I kept saying, don't make a road baby, don't make a road baby. And he made a road baby. So and that is Skylar. So he tells me that night that he's a father to this little girl and that he's met her. He had heard through the grapevine that this woman that he met while he was on tour had gotten pregnant and that she thought he was the father, and he eventually just said, I want to know if this little girl is mine, because he wanted to be in her life if she was his. So he was here in August. I think it was either June or July that he went and had DNA tests done to see if he was indeed Daddy Dear, and he was, but he didn't want to tell me until he came, and so he could tell me in person. I mean, I didn't take it well because all I could imagine is you're in Nashville, you have this little girl far away from you, you're on the road all the time. We don't know this woman. I mean, I didn't know her at all. He barely knew her. Well, he knew her in a certain way. And he knew of her, and it was like, I couldn't see any way that this was going to turn out good at all. And I cried and cried and cried, and I was just so upset. And he's like, Mom, don't worry. Everything's going to be good. I'm going to see her. I've already told Janet I'm paying support. And, I was like, oh, it's like, what do you, I couldn't absorb what was going on. So about 3 hours later, we're getting ready. I was getting ready to go to bed, and he's like, would you like to see some videos of her? And I was like, yes. So he leaves me with his laptop, and he goes to bed, and I watched a couple of videos that he had of her. I watched them over and over and over again. I mean, I was obsessed with this child the minute I laid eyes on her. And I was like, I just can't believe that this is my granddaughter. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. So, and I remember my husband, who was still living here at the time, comes downstairs to go to the bathroom, and he walks by, and he's like, oh, who's that? I said, my granddaughter. And he goes, oh, cool. And he's like, what? I was like, I don't even remember telling people. I mean, obviously I had to tell everybody. I don't even remember. It's like I went blank for a while, and Derek, how do you think Derek felt? All of a sudden he's a dad. He doesn't even have a girlfriend, but he's a dad. So after watching those videos, I told Derek, I was like, how do I see her? I've got to see her. So we decided that he would come back to Maine with Skylar in November. And I was like, I just can't wait to see this little girl. So I got to talk to Skylar's mother a little bit, got to know her a little bit, and sure enough, in November, Derek came with Skylar, and I have the picture of them just coming off the plane. I have the very first picture of, what she looked like when I saw her for the first time, and I'll put that at the end of this video. I told him when he was coming, because I'm that kind of mother, I'm like, bring the DNA papers, because I wanted to call the DNA place and make sure nothing had been changed. The papers didn't get sent directly to him, and I didn't trust that maybe somebody had changed things on the DNA, added Derek's name or after the fact or whatever. So he did, because he knew that I would just bother him constantly if he didn't do it. So he brought the DNA papers, and I called, and of course I knew I would have to have his permission for them to talk to me and give me any results. And, I told the woman, I said, I just want to make sure. And she's like, what do you want the results to be? And I'm like, I want her to be his kid. And she's like, well, congratulations, Grandma. He's her dad. I was like, yes! So that was the first time I saw Skylar, and I was in love with her instantly. I mean, I just couldn't believe this granddaughter was mine, my granddaughter. I mean, it was just like, so, I missed the first year of her life, but I couldn't have asked for a better granddaughter. I mean, she's just awesome. So Derek went back. He stayed on the road for a while and would see Skylar whenever he could. But then he ended up wanting to be with her, and he ended up actually relocating to Memphis and trying to have a relationship with Skylar's mother, Janet. And they tried that for, I would say, like a year and a half or so. And it just, it just wasn't working. They just, weren't meant to be together. It was okay for a weekend, but not for longer. So, so he ended up moving out. They were living together, but he ended up moving out, but got an apartment, and they still co-parented. And in a way, because they didn't have a history, it was, the co-parenting went well, you know what I mean? It's like there was no animosity, and it was just there was some rough patches, but for the most part it went great. And Janet had a son, so Skylar has an older brother, 3 years older, and Derek was in his life the whole time. So since Jared was 3, Derek was with him, and they're just very, very close. Derek even brought Jared here the last time he came with Skylar, so that was awesome. And, it's just the way things work out sometimes. We just don't know how things are going to happen. I would visit as much as I could. Derek would visit with her. And then the first year that I took Skylar here to Maine, I don't even remember how we came up with that. I don't even remember how I had the courage to do such a thing. But I just loved her so much, and I just wanted her so much. So it was when she was she was still 2, but she was going to be 3 that August of that first summer. So 8, 9, 10, 11. So it was the summer of 2011 that I had her for the first time. And I think it was like for almost 3 weeks or something like that, 2.5 or 3 weeks. And she was just this little thing, and she was so good. I mean, she'd only ever seen me a few times, and she came with me, and she never gave me trouble. She never, like, got homesick. She just, it's like she was just meant to be around me. We just were like a couple from the very beginning. We just were inseparable. So I've had her every single summer since then. I generally see her at least once a year, other than that, sometimes twice. And we talk, we Skype a little bit. Neither one of us are into Skyping. You know, we tried really hard, and it's just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. But we do talk on the phone all the time. I just talked to her tonight. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that that little girl of mine, I didn't even know about her until she was almost a year old. She was going to be a year old in a week. I mean, it was like all of a sudden I know I'm a grandmother, and I'm instantly shopping for birthday presents because her birthday was in a week. The first thing I ever bought her was a little pink winter jacket, which you'll see in the pictures when she came to Maine with Derek in November. Anyway, that's the story of my little Skylar, and how she was a road baby who came to be in our lives, and we just love her to pieces. Absolutely adore her. So that is it. I will be back with more very soon. I'll have another update for you tomorrow, I'm sure. And I need to get a couple of YouTube tips up too, so maybe I'll do that tonight. Please thumbs up, please subscribe, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye!